Hello there. Right, today I'm going to show you how to make this chocolate squidgy log. And okay, it's around Christmas time that I'm making it, but believe me, it's not just for Christmas time. This is a real hit on the summer months as well. So then, how to make that lovely squidgy log. I use Delia Smith. It's a very old book I've had. I'm going to open the page. You can see it's well thumbed and used and covered in chocolate squidgy log, in fact. So in order to make it, you set it into two pieces. You've got the filling, which you need plain chocolate for. It says on here to use 2 large eggs separated, but I'm not going to make it as Delia showed here because they're raw eggs. We've got little children in the family, 1 pregnant lady, so there's no way that I can have raw eggs in the mousse. I'm just daring to caution all round. So I'm actually going to make butter, use butter, and then icing sugar. And you need 8 ounces of double cream, which is sitting in the fridge, keeping cool. For the actual cake, you need no flour. It's one of those cakes that no flour in it at all. You need 5 ounces of your caster sugar. You need 6 large eggs, and you need cocoa, and you need 2 ounces of cocoa powder. So it's 5 ounces of caster sugar, 2 ounces of cocoa powder, and 6 large eggs. You need some greaseproof paper, and you need a tray in order to cook it in. Okay, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to set the oven, gas mark 4 or 180 degrees. Your tin that you're going to use to cook it in is about 11.5 inches by 7 or 29 centimetres by 18, and you need to lightly grease it. Alright, I'm just going to use a little bit of flour. I'm going to lightly grease it, and then you lay in your greaseproof paper and you lightly grease that. So we've already greased the tray. I'm now greasing the greaseproof paper, but it helps it when you tip it out at the end of the cooking time. Now the actual cooking time for this cake is about 20 to 25 minutes. You need a bit longer than that, obviously, for the prepping time. But the actual cooking time is about 20 to 25 minutes. So not too bad. And no flour. It makes it so light and lovely. Right, take your plain dark chocolate, and you need 8 ounces of this. You're going to break it into your bowl, and the bowl's got to be able to sit over a saucepan. Okay, so when you're ready, the water will be boiling, or simmering I should say, and then you pop it over and you're going to melt your chocolate. You can do it in the microwave. It does work in the microwave, but it tends to crystallise. I don't do it that way. I do it the old-fashioned way. So you break your chocolate into there, and then you pop it on there, and then that will melt it. Right, while you're waiting for your water to boil to melt the chocolate, put 4 ounces of butter into a mixing container, and 8 ounces of icing sugar needs to be added to that. You're making butter icing, and then you're going to mix the melted chocolate in. So get your butter nice and soft, and then you need to add your icing sugar in. I usually sieve mine into the bowl, so I'm just going to get this a little bit softer, ready to take the icing sugar. There we are. I sieve it in case there's any lumps. It's usually pretty good these days, but sieve a little bit in. Don't overdo it, just a little bit at a time. And then stir it in. You see what's happening there? So you're mixing just butter icing. Nothing clever or wonderful about it. So there's our 8 ounces of icing sugar mixed into our 4 ounces of butter. I don't want it too thick because it needs to be spread, and once we add the chocolate, it can sometimes go slightly thick. So I just add a tiny bit of warm water, not a lot, just a tiny bit, probably. This is a tablespoon here. You won't need that much, so just half, not even that, some of that way, just half a tablespoon, because I want it to be a little bit more runny than that. It's quite cold in the kitchen today. Perfect, look at that. That's the consistency you want for this. So that bit's done. So now you want to get your chocolate. Just sit that there, that's perfect. You put your chocolate over the simmering water. Mind your hands, don't burn yourself. And you add 2 tablespoons of water, and then it melts. So this will melt, and then you need to stir it very gently and watch it doesn't curdle. So we keep an eye on that, and we're going to stir that round. Okay, it will begin to melt in a minute. The simmering water's just touching the bottom of the bowl. Bit long-winded, quicker in the microwave, but this goes so much nicer. Okay, keep stirring it round until the chocolate's melted. We've still got some more to melt. This water is, just to clarify, it's just sitting below. It's just heating up the bottom of the bowl. It's not sitting in the water. It's just gently rising the heat to melt the chocolate. Okay, so that's nearly ready. Be careful, keep a very close eye. Keep stirring it. Keep a close eye. You don't want it to crystallise. It's just beginning to be ready. I'm going to turn that off. We don't want it to go too far. Take that away from the heat now. Pop it onto the board so it doesn't ruin the unit. It's very hot. And now this is the tricky part. We're going to start folding in some of this butter icing. Okay, so we're going to fold it in to that mixture. Okay, mind your bowl's hot. So that's what we're about to do now. So we need to mix that in. Just keep doing that, spooning little bits in and folding it in. So there's your mousse mixture. Now what you have to do now is cover that and pop it in the fridge to chill for an hour. Now we're going to get on with the cake. So you've got 6 eggs, you need to separate them and you put the yolks into your bowl and you need your whisk to stir them, to whisk them up. There we go. Crack the egg and we need to get the whites out. So there we are. Kind of keeping it between the two, and hopefully you don't break the egg, otherwise it'll get mixed in with the egg whites. Back that way, get as much off as you can. There we are. And in there, and another 5 to go. Ah! Okay, we're now going to pop our whisk on. The eggs. We need to whisk them until they start to thicken. There's the egg white. Crucial you don't get any egg yolk in it. So there's the egg white. Pop that over there. We don't need that for now. We're just going to concentrate on the egg yolks. So, right, there's our egg yolks. Nice and thick, not too thick. This is the crucial part. When you add this in, don't let this become too thick. I'm going to do it a bit at a time. I'm going to add half of that and start to thicken. Start to stir, I mean. Grab the rest. And then you whisk this in until it starts to thicken, but try not to let it go too thick, so you don't do this for too long. So I did that for about 30 seconds. You can see it's just going thicker there. We don't want to make it too thick, otherwise it's hard to fold all the other egg white in a moment, and then you don't have that nice light texture. Now we want to add in our cocoa powder. Here's our 2 ounces of cocoa powder, which I'm now going to put in. I'm not going to use the whisk at this point. I'm just going to fold it in using a wooden spoon. Sieve it, otherwise you end up with lumps. However well, whatever product one is you've bought, however good the quality is, it's still lumps. So you're mixing this in now. The rest. And then when you've done this, when you're happy with it, it's all mixed in, you need to make sure that your whisk is scrupulously clean, i.e. get rid of all the egg yolk, because then you're going to whisk the egg whites. There we are, just beginning to make sure I pick up everything from the side of the bowl. I don't want to waste any of that lovely chocolate. Perfect, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now we whisk our egg whites to the soft peak stage, and then we need to fold them into our mixture. Very nice, you see that? I'm going to keep going for a bit longer, but don't overdo it, otherwise they turn the other way, they go too hard. So we're almost there, they're not staying soft peak, they need to stay up. So a tiny bit longer. And when I'm whisking, I make sure I move the whisk up and down the mixture so that we get all of it mixed in. Sometimes it's very that is now perfect. Look, soft peak, it's perfect. That is now ready to fold into here, and when you fold, you literally fold it in like this, gently and carefully. So we're going to scoop some of that in with a spoon. And we literally fold it in very gently. Don't rush this part, you'll spoil all the hard work. You need to keep folding until all of this egg white is folded in. Okay, and then don't stir it round the outside because that will take away all that lovely air that you've folded in. But I know you're going to get bits around the edge, so you kind of knock them in. And you may even have little bits on the bottom that you'll feel, but don't stir vigorously, just gently try and get them from the bottom of the bowl. But keep folding because you're folding the air in. You can see the mixture has quadrupled in size. So hopefully now we have all of the egg whites folded in and no clumps of egg whites. That's ready now, I think, looking at it. Hopefully. Yeah, it looks good. You see the air bubbles? That is going to be gorgeous. It's ready now to pour into our prepared baking tin. Make sure nothing's moved on your greaseproof paper, nicely in there, and you want to pour this in to here. Keep an eye in case there's any white not mixed in. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. That's looking pretty good. Okay. Gently ease it out to the edge of your tin. Okay, and then you pop it on the centre shelf of your oven for 20 to 25 minutes. You need to keep an eye on it. You know it's cooked when it's springy to touch. So I'll go over that again in a minute. I'll get this in here first of all. Don't want to waste any of this mixture. Get it all in. So I'm very pleased with that. Make sure it's pretty level. It goes in the centre shelf. 20 to 25 minutes. I should come back in 20 minutes and have a look at it. It needs to be springy to the touch we'll check that in a minute and I can go through that. But when you take it out of the oven, you leave it in the cake tin until it's cooled down. There she goes. Okay. I needed to give it the full 25 minutes. You can see that's lovely and squidgy to touch. Okay, if you're not sure, get a skewer and pop it in and make sure you don't have any cake mixture come off. There we are, clean. That's lovely. So we take that out of the oven and we leave it in the cake tin. So don't remove it from the cake tin at this point. It will begin to shrink away. Don't worry, that's quite normal. Put that down there. Don't worry, it's quite normal for it to shrink. And just leave it to cool down. I've got a bread board out now, another sheet of greaseproof paper. You liberally dust this with some icing sugar. So get that ready. And then what you're going to do is, your cake, when it's completely cold, you need to tip it over onto this greaseproof paper that's been dusted with icing sugar. So there we are, it's all dusted now. And we're now going to flip it over onto there, and then we gently peel away this greaseproof paper. Take some time. You don't want to pull any of the cake away. Whoop, slowly. Yeah. Now we get our chocolate mousse from the fridge. I've left it at room temperature for a few minutes just so that it's easier to stir. There's our chocolate mousse there. And then you need to stir it. This is going to be spread on top of here. You want it thick enough to spread, but not too thick that it won't spread. So if you find that it's gone too thick in the fridge, then put a tiny, tiny, tiny drop of warm water in it and stir it in. And that will help it to be a little bit more pliable so you can spread it. I'm not going to do that. Mine's turned out bang on. So I'm now going to spread that over the cake. Okay, I'm going to dollop a bit on and spread it.
Yeah, that's it, spread all over. Looking good already, isn't it? It's really good making this cake because you get to, you shouldn't be looking at this. I'm not supposed to be testing the mix, but I'll make sure it's good. And it is, isn't it?
You're not making the cake?
No, I'm testing it.
Take your double cream, you want 8 ounces of it, and you pour that into your bowl. And then you need to whisk that until it's a soft consistency. And then we're going to pour that over the mousse. It's crucial not to over whip the cream because you need to spread it on there, and if it's too hard to spread it just rips the mousse off. So I'm going to stop there, almost gone too far, but by the time I take that off the blades and mix it, that'll mix in and be just right. So the cream's off the blade, I nearly over mixed that. So with the soft bit at the edges, once I mix this all in with a spoon, that is now perfect to spread over the cake. Okay, I'm just going to put this on in little dobs. Looking really, really nice. And we're not allowed to eat it, are we, Al? Until the family arrive.
What a shame. Looking good too.
Sure is. There we are then. Have it at the ends here, because this is when you roll it, this is where you want it to spill out and look really nice. I'm not going to mess around with that anymore, because if I scrape it too much, I'm pulling the chocolate mousse up as well at the same time. I actually use 10 ounces on this, I just use the whole carton, but we like cream, so there you go. So that's ready now. Now is the hard part, and this is the part I hope is going to be successful on the camera to show you how amazing it is. We now have to roll it. So this is going to be the challenge. Okay, now I've got Al holding this greaseproof paper in place because this is the tricky part. You've got to roll it and you don't want it to be sliding around underneath. It will crumble, it will go into funny shapes, but you're just kind of rolling it round. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Around. It's moving, it's moving. Don't want it to move. That is gone lovely. Look at that. Oh, it's perfect. That is exactly how it should look. I'm so pleased with that. You can always doctor it a little bit, squidge it together if you don't want your cream showing through. But that is absolutely perfect. And my golly, that is going to taste good. I'm so pleased with that. If you want to, you can use your paper now and roll it and squidge it a little bit more into the shape you want. But don't play with it too much, because you're going to spoil the texture. But there you are. How's that? That is perfect. Now if this was a summer, what I'd do is I'd get loads of strawberries and I'd dip them into some chocolate, and then I'd decorate it all around the edge with strawberries and raspberries. As it's Christmas time, I'm going to be decorating it with my Christmas decorations, and I actually want to make it look slightly more snowy. So I'm going to go mad with the icing sugar. I'm just going to sprinkle this over because I want the paper to be covered in frosting like it's snowed. So I'm going around the edge of the paper mainly so that I can and then just over the top. Can you see what I'm doing there? Now when my daughter's with me, this then has to be covered in chocolate, and she covers it in chocolate and it's amazing. But I'm leaving it like this. I'm not going to cover it in chocolate, but that is also very nice. Quite tricky to do because it's all broken away. I find it hard to do that, but you can. So now it just leaves me to get out my little Christmas decorations and put them on to my cake. As it's Christmas time, I'm going to make a little winter scene. So there you are, there we have it, our lovely chocolate squidgy log. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed watching that. We are certainly going to enjoy eating it, but not until later on, Al, when the family come.
Not even any samples?
No samples, definitely not. Okay, well, thank you for watching. For all our videos, Deraton33. Thank you. Bye.